Your nightly bathroom trips may begin at breakfast, not bedtime. Ignored, this quiet pattern drains energy and nudges up safety risks after 50. Stay with me for a simple, natural plan to calm the bladder and reclaim deep, uninterrupted sleep. If you wake up 2 or 3 times a night and blame your bladder, I get it. But here's the twist. The real culprit often starts hours earlier with the way we structure the day. The body runs on rhythms, internal clocks that decide when to be alert, when to rest, and even when to concentrate urine, so we don't have to visit the bathroom at 2 a.m. When these rhythms get nudged off course, nighttime becomes a relay race between the bed and the bathroom. Let me be transparent from the very start. Stay with me until the end of this series, because there is a simple, natural bonus strategy that people overlook, an add-on you can pair with the habits we're building to amplify results safely. I will also reveal a risk that's rarely discussed, but matters a lot after 50 if nighttime awakenings continue unchecked. No panic, no dramatics, just practical knowledge you can use. Now, think about a common American day. Bottomless diner coffee refills that keep coming long after lunch. An extra glass of iced tea at dinner because the server topped you up without asking. A diet soda on the couch during your favorite show. And then, out of a sense of virtue, a big bottle of water right before bed. Hydration is healthy, we tell ourselves. Each choice feels harmless on its own. Together, they load the evening with fluids and stimulants exactly when your brain is trying to reduce urine production. Here's the quiet biology behind it. As night approaches, the brain typically boosts an antidiuretic signal that helps the kidneys concentrate urine. Caffeine late in the day can blunt that process. Alcohol can temporarily increase urine output, and large fluid boluses close to bedtime simply overpower your system's ability to keep things calm. None of this means you should dehydrate yourself or fear a glass of water. It means timing and distribution are as important as total quantity. Small changes in when you drink can produce outsized changes in when you have to go. Let's make this useful. Imagine dividing your day into zones. In the first zone, the morning and early afternoon, you front-load most of your hydration when your body is primed to process it. Water with breakfast, a glass with a late morning walk, another at lunch, and a steady rhythm up until mid-afternoon. If you enjoy coffee, make it earlier and set a reasonable cutoff. Even decaf can contain enough caffeine to be stimulating for some people, so pay attention to how you feel. If you like sparkling water or iced tea, consider moving them into your daylight hours. The second zone is the late afternoon. This is where awareness pays off. Many people spend hours sitting in traffic or at a desk, and fluid can pool in the legs. When you finally recline at night, that fluid shifts back into circulation and eventually to the bladder. A few minutes of ankle pumps, a brief walk after dinner, or simply elevating your legs for a short burst before bedtime helps your body handle that shift while you're still awake. It's not a miracle, it's mechanical wisdom. The third zone is the evening wind down. Here, you don't need to become rigid, just intentional. Aim for smaller sips rather than large glasses, 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you want herbal tea, choose a gentle option and mind the amount. Some herbs can be mildly diuretic or bladder irritating depending on the person. Alcohol deserves special mention. A nightcap can fragment sleep and increase bathroom trips. If you choose to drink, make it earlier with a meal and match it with water earlier in the day rather than chugging before bedtime. A quick, respectful word about safety. Because we're talking about health, amounts and methods matter. The same drink that helps in the afternoon could be counterproductive at night. Overcompensating by sharply restricting fluids without considering your medications or medical conditions can backfire. If you live with diabetes, heart or kidney issues, or you take diuretics, coordinate any changes with your healthcare professional. Our goal is comfort and better nights, not extremes. Now for the small reveal, the part that tends to surprise people. Many folks who struggle with nocturia aren't drinking too much overall. They're drinking at the wrong times. Once they redistribute fluids earlier, create a gentle taper in the evening, and pair that with a calm pre-sleep routine. The bathroom trips often drop without complicated interventions. It's a subtle shift that returns control to your day. Take a breath and picture the payoff. Fewer awakenings, more continuous sleep, and steadier energy in the morning. That's the quiet win we're after. Keep your approach curious, not judgmental. Track what you drink and when for a few days. Notice patterns, with small experiments, an earlier last cup of tea, a walk after dinner, a mindful sip strategy at night. You'll start to see what your system prefers. We'll keep building this with practical steps you can implement right away. The next tip is among the most important, and overlooking it won't just limit your results. It can bring unintended side effects if you're not careful with quantities and timing. I'll show you how to avoid that in a clear, steady way. If timing sets the stage, what we put on the plate keeps the spotlight blazing long into the night. Think about a familiar evening. A generous turkey sandwich with leftover gravy, a handful of pickles, maybe a drizzle of soy sauce on a quick stir-fry, a side of buffalo wings, and a movie snack, microwave popcorn with a little extra salt for crunch. It sounds ordinary, even cozy. Yet the combination of sodium, acids, and certain additives can nudge the bladder and shift fluid balance in ways that make sleep more fragmented after 50. Let's start with the quiet architect of fluid, sodium. Salt isn't the villain, it's the excess and the late-day timing that complicate things. High-sodium meals pull water into the bloodstream to maintain balance. You may not notice it immediately, but that extra fluid has to go somewhere later. If you're seated most of the afternoon and evening, some of it pools in the legs. When you lie down, the fluid returns to circulation and your kidneys naturally increase urine production, right when you'd prefer they didn't. That's one reason a salty dinner can translate into a busy night, even if you thought you were careful with drinks. Here's where American eating habits quietly stack the deck. Deli meats, canned soups, jarred pasta sauces, BBQ sauce, soy sauce, and teriyaki, pickles, frozen dinners, and even healthy snacks like roasted nuts or protein chips often carry sodium levels that add up fast. Restaurant portions can double or triple what we expect. And labels can feel deceptive. Reduced sodium still might be more than your evening needs. None of this calls for perfectionism. It calls for awareness and better distribution. There's also the question of bladder comfort. Some people are not sensitive at all, while others notice that certain ingredients, artificial sweeteners like aspartame or saccharin, or acidic foods like tomato-heavy sauces and citrus, make urgency more likely, especially later in the day. This isn't a moral judgment on foods, it's about your personal threshold. Two people can eat the same marinara and have very different nights. Your job is to observe, not to stress. Let's translate this into practical changes that respect your routines. Map your day the same way you did with fluids. Shift the saltiest foods earlier. Enjoy that classic turkey sandwich at lunch instead of dinner. When you cook, balance flavor with herbs, garlic, onion, smoked paprika, lemon zest, or a splash of vinegar used earlier in the day, so your palate feels satisfied without leaning on a heavy salt hand at night. If you use soy sauce, try a lighter drizzle and dilute it with a bit of water and fresh ginger. Keep pickles as a midday crunch rather than an evening side. For sauces, look for brands with clearly lower sodium per serving, and actually measure the serving once or twice. You might be surprised by how much lands on the plate when we pour by feel. About those sugar-free and diet labels. For some people, certain sweeteners can irritate the bladder's lining or change how urgency is perceived. Again, not everyone reacts, but it's worth an experiment. If you love diet soda with dinner, try swapping it for sparkling water with lime earlier in the day and plain water or a gentle, non-acidic herbal infusion in the evening. Observe what happens over a week. Let your experience be the guide. Acidity matters for some too. Tomato sauces, citrus dressings, spicy hot sauces, none are bad, and many are part of a healthy pattern in moderation. But if nighttime urgency is stealing your sleep, temper those choices later in the day and notice whether comfort improves. You can soften tomato sauces by adding a little olive oil and cooking them longer. You can balance spice with cooling yogurt served at lunch instead of dinner. Small culinary moves can make meaningful physiological differences. A word about balance and safety, because that's part of responsible health education. Dramatically slashing salt without context may not be appropriate for everyone, especially if you have medical conditions or take medications that affect fluid balance. The goal is not austerity, it's timing and proportion. Likewise, replacing sugar entirely with intense sweeteners all evening might solve one issue while creating another for a sensitive bladder. Think experimentation, not absolutism. If you manage blood pressure, heart or kidney concerns, or diabetes, coordinate changes with your clinician. Here's the little plot twist. Many people see improvement not by banning favorite foods, but by shifting them out of the late-night spotlight. A saltier, zestier lunch can be perfectly compatible with a calmer evening. Measured portions help. So does building a satisfying, less salty dinner. Roasted vegetables, grilled fish or tofu with herbs, a baked potato with a modest sprinkle of salt and a squeeze of lemon earlier in the day, and water sipped thoughtfully instead of guzzled. It's an everyday strategy that respects culture and comfort while protecting your night's rest. Anchor these ideas with one small challenge for the week ahead. Keep a simple food note in your phone, what you ate at dinner, whether it leaned salty, acidic, or included diet sodas, and how many times you woke up. Patterns will appear quickly. When they do, you'll know which lever to adjust next. Move the pickles to lunch, have the soy sauce, enjoy BBQ earlier, or swap the evening diet soda for something gentler. You'll be steering, not guessing. We're building momentum with steady, practical steps. The next tip is among the most important, and overlooking it won't just limit your results. It can bring unintended side effects if portions and preparation aren't handled with care. I'll show you how to keep it both effective and safe. If shifting salty dinners earlier and dialing back evening diet sodas made sense, there's a trio that still keeps many people up at night. Late-day caffeine, that friendly just one drink, and screens that glow like a portable sunrise. They look harmless because they're familiar, yet together they can nudge your brain and kidneys to stay in daytime mode long after your body is asking for rest. Let's start with the cup that follows us everywhere. Caffeine doesn't clock out when the mug is empty. It lingers. Even decaf contains a small amount, which is enough for some people to notice. I'm not here to demonize your coffee. Far from it. I'm here to protect the timing that protects your night. Try a simple experiment. Shift your last caffeinated drink to the earlier part of the afternoon and watch what happens over a week. If you love a warm ritual later, swap to a gentle, non-acidic herbal infusion and keep the portion modest. Many folks tell me the key was not drinking less overall, but drinking earlier with intention. Alcohol deserves an honest, calm look. A nightcap can feel like it relaxes the mind, and in the first hour you might indeed drift off faster. But alcohol also fragments the second half of sleep and encourages more urine production. For many, that means waking and walking. The practical move is timing and dilution. Enjoy your drink earlier with a meal, alternate with water during the day rather than chugging before bed, and stop well before your wind down. If you choose not to drink at all, that's perfectly fine. If you do, give your night a wider runway. Now to the modern campfire, our screens. Phones, tablets, laptops, and big-screen TVs aren't villains either, but the light they emit, especially the bright, cool kind, signals daytime to the brain. When that signal stays high, the body delays the chemistry that helps concentrate urine overnight and quiets the bladder's check-in messages. Night modes and blue light filters help a bit, but they don't fully change the signal if you're scrolling through stimulating content. A kind boundary is to set a screen curfew. 30 to 60 minutes before bed, let the house light dim and the screens power down. Put the phone on a charger outside the bedroom or face down on a dresser. If you like to unwind with a show, watch earlier and turn off autoplay so one episode doesn't quietly become 3. Small details add up. If you enjoy chocolate after dinner, remember it contains caffeine. Make it an afternoon treat instead. If green tea is your wellness drink, know that it's not a bedtime tea for everyone. Move it to late morning and switch to something gentler later on. If an evening bourbon has been a habit, try a week of earlier sips with dinner and observe, not judge, the difference. When you choose an herbal blend at night, think about the portion and the plant. Some blends are naturally stimulating or mildly diuretic for certain people. Let's build a wind down that helps your body do what it already wants to do. Keep your bedroom darker and cooler, let the last big glass of water happen earlier, and create a predictable routine your brain can recognize. A few rounds of slow breathing, A brief stretch, or 10 minutes with a paper book, tells your system it's safe to shift from do to restore. This is not perfection culture. It's rhythm training. For many, the payoff is fewer awakenings, less urgency, and a morning that feels steadier. Safety is part of the story. If you use medications that interact with alcohol or caffeine, or if you live with conditions like diabetes, heart or kidney issues, coordinate changes with your clinician. We're not removing hydration or joy, we're placing them where your body can handle them best. One more friendly reminder. Habit changes land better when shared. A family agreement to dim lights and park phones can make the plan easier and, dare I say, more pleasant. Here's the quiet reveal that surprises people. The bladder often takes the blame, but the real switch is higher up. Light, caffeine, and alcohol act like little daytime buttons. When you stop pressing them late, the night stops pushing back. It's a gentle pivot, not a harsh rulebook, and it returns choice to you. Give yourself a fair trial. 7 evenings of earlier timing and calmer light, and then look at the result, not the theory. If you sleep through a stretch you haven't seen in years, you'll know which levers to keep. We're building momentum one clear step at a time, with room for your preferences. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it won't just limit your results. It can also bring unintended side effects if portions and preparation aren't handled carefully. I'll walk you through it with the same calm, practical tone so you can use it confidently. Even with smarter timing for caffeine, alcohol, and light, the body leaves daytime footprints that quietly shape the night. 3 of them are easy to overlook. Fluid pooling in the legs after long stretches of sitting or standing, a sluggish bowel that crowds the bladder, and snoring or mouth breathing that disrupts the brain's night signals. If any of those feel familiar, you may already have clues to why the bathroom keeps calling. Let's translate the leg story into simple physics. Spend hours at a desk, on the road, or on your feet in a store, and gravity asks fluid to settle downward. Your socks may leave deeper marks, rings feel tighter later, shoes that were roomy at lunch hug a bit by evening. None of this is dramatic, but it matters. When you lie down, that pooled fluid returns to circulation, and your kidneys, doing exactly what they're designed to do, make more urine. That's not a failure, it's a sequence. The practical fix is to move the sequence into daylight. Try a short, consistent routine in the late afternoon or early evening. 10 minutes of ankle pumps while seated. Point and flex the feet, circle the ankles, followed by a brief walk around the block or a few laps inside your home. If you can, elevate your legs for 20 to 30 minutes while you read, call a friend, or prep dinner. The goal isn't squeezing fluids out dramatically, it's encouraging gentle return before bedtime so the bladder is quieter when you need it to be. Compression garments can help some people during the day, but they're not for everyone and typically aren't worn to sleep. Speak with your clinician if you have heart, vascular, or skin concerns before you add them. Now, the bowel-bladder duet. When the bowel gets backed up, it doesn't politely step aside. It takes up space and adds pressure, which can increase urinary urgency and frequency. Many people focus on water alone, but the choreography includes fiber, movement, and timing. Aim to distribute fiber from foods across the day rather than loading it all at night. Oats or whole grain toast in the morning, a salad or hearty vegetable at lunch, beans or lentils earlier rather than late, and fruit as a daytime snack. If prunes help you, try them in the afternoon. Pair fiber with consistent hydration earlier in the day, not a flood before bed. A small footstool to elevate the feet on the toilet can align things better and reduce straining. If you're using supplements or laxatives, coordinate with your healthcare professional so you don't swing from one extreme to the other. Breath and sleep matter too. Loud snoring, mouth breathing, or waking gasping can fragment sleep and are worth a medical look, especially if you're sleepy during the day. In plain language, disrupted sleep can change the balance of signals that help concentrate urine overnight. You can support better nights with simple habits. Aim for nasal breathing, consider a saline rinse if congestion is routine, and favor side sleeping if it feels comfortable. Keep the room a bit cooler and elevate the head slightly if your healthcare professional agrees. None of these replace medical care, but they are friendly supports you can implement while you seek guidance if needed. Let's fold these ideas into a calm evening flow. A light walk after dinner, 5 to 15 minutes, followed by a few gentle calf raises at the counter, then leg elevation while you skim a book or plan tomorrow. Keep the last substantial drink earlier, choose small sips later, and avoid chasing saltier or spicier dishes with large glasses at night. If constipation has been a companion, build a predictable morning momentum, warm beverage after waking, a quick stretch, and breakfast with fiber so the bowel moves when the day is young. Here are a few signs that you're on the right track. Your socks leave lighter marks, you feel less bloated at night, and your urge to get up comes later or not at all. Keep notes for a week. No perfection, just patterns. If you notice stubborn swelling, shortness of breath, chest discomfort, or sudden changes, seek care promptly. Those aren't lifestyle puzzles to solve alone. For most people, though, the steady practice of daytime movement, earlier hydration, balanced fiber, and gentle wind down is enough to shift the night in a better direction. The small reveal that ties this together is simple. When you take care of daytime circulation, bowel rhythm, and breathing, you take care of nighttime calm. What looks like a bladder problem is often a whole system rhythm problem that you can influence with practical, respectful steps. Every choice is a vote for the night you want. Fewer awakenings, safer trips if you do get up, and more energy in the morning. We'll keep building with clear, doable actions that fit a North American routine: commutes, grocery runs, evening shows, and weekend errands. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it won't just limit your results. It can also bring unintended side effects if portions and preparation aren't handled carefully. I'll guide you through it steadily so you can apply it with confidence. You've already shifted timing on drinks, salt, light, and movement, and that's a strong foundation. Here's where many people with the best intentions accidentally make nights harder. They reach for natural helpers late in the day. I'm a fan of simple, plant-forward strategies. I also respect how timing, dose, and preparation can flip benefits into irritants, quietly, predictably, and without drama. My job is to help you keep the good while removing the backfires. Let's name a few usual suspects. Diuretic or stimulating teas can be wonderful at the right hour. Hibiscus, dandelion, nettle, green tea, even robust ginger or mint blends can nudge fluid movement or perk up the system. Taken at night, they may push your bladder to check in just when you're trying to drift off. That doesn't make them bad. It makes them daytime players. If you enjoy them, schedule a cup with lunch or early afternoon and limit the steep time to avoid super concentrated brews. At night, choose milder options and smaller volumes. Sometimes a half cup is plenty for ritual without a full bladder. Cranberry deserves a calm mention. Some people find it helpful for overall urinary comfort. Others notice the acidity irritates a sensitive bladder, especially in the evening. If you love cranberry, consider enjoying it earlier in the day, diluted and without added sweeteners. The same goes for citrus-heavy infusions or vinegars, like apple cider vinegar. Use thoughtfully and earlier, and listen to your body's response. Vitamins and supplements can surprise you too. Big, late doses of vitamin C can increase acidity, and for some, bladder sensitivity. Magnesium can support relaxation, but certain forms paired with large glasses of water near bedtime may lead to more bathroom trips. Herbal detox blends often combine several plants that each move fluid slightly. Together, especially at night, they can be pushy. None of this calls for fear. It calls for experiment design, smaller portions, earlier timing, and single-ingredient trials so you can tell what's helping. Preparation matters as much as ingredients. A strongly steeped tea is a different creature than a light infusion. A smoothie that seems healthy, a tall blend with celery, cucumber, parsley, and frozen fruit, can become a stealthy leader of fluid if you sip it after dinner. Electrolyte packets are popular, and they can be useful after daytime exercise or heat. At night, the sodium content can pull more water into circulation and set you up for later awakenings. Even sleep teas labeled as calming can be paired with sweeteners or ingredients your bladder doesn't love. Always scan the blend, portion what you pour, and ask, is this an afternoon ally or an evening ally? Here's a simple recalibration you can try this week. Pick your favorite functional beverage, maybe hibiscus, nettle, or a ginger mint mix. Move it to midday and cap the steep at 5 minutes. If you like cranberry, dilute a small glass with water and place it at lunch. If you take vitamin C, shift the dose earlier and keep amounts within your clinician's guidance. If you use a magnesium supplement, discuss form and timing with your healthcare professional and avoid chasing it with a big bottle at bedtime. Build an evening ritual that feels soothing without encouraging a full bladder. A warm compress on the shoulders, gentle stretches, a few pages of a paper book, slow breaths. Another quiet catch: artificial sweeteners and intense flavors added to healthy drinks. Some people are sensitive to aspartame, saccharin, or acesulfame potassium in diet beverages. Others feel fine. The same with spicy concentrates. Your notebook becomes a coach here. Write down what you used, when, and how the night went. Patterns appear fast. This isn't a punishment. It's a map you're drawing for yourself. Let's talk safety, because quality information helps you make confident choices. If you live with kidney disease, heart conditions, or you take diuretics or blood pressure medications, don't drastically change fluids or add herbal diuretics without guidance. If you're on anticoagulants or other medications, certain herbs can interact. Another reason to keep blends simple and timing earlier. And if urinary symptoms change suddenly, pain, burning, fever, blood in urine, that's a prompt for medical care, not a tea experiment. Here's the quiet reveal that ties this together. Many natural tools work best not by adding more things at night, but by respecting the body's clock. When you shift active plants, concentrated vitamins, and high-volume beverages into daylight, your night has less to manage. People are often surprised by how quickly awakenings settle when evening becomes gentle. A smaller cup, milder plants, measured salting at dinner, and unhurried wind down. The feeling isn't restriction, it's relief. You don't have to overhaul your identity as a tea lover or wellness enthusiast. You just place the power where your body can use it without waking you up. Choose one change today, perhaps moving a favorite tea earlier, halving the evening portion, or swapping a tall smoothie for a small bowl of yogurt and berries at dusk. Then, watch the night. Notice the difference. Keep what helps. That's how you build a routine that lasts. We're close to the core strategy that brings these threads together. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it won't just limit your results. It can also bring unintended side effects if portions and preparation aren't handled carefully. I'll guide you through it with the same calm, practical tone so you can apply it confidently. It's time to pull together everything you've practiced and give your night a fair chance. The central idea is refreshingly simple. You don't have to drink less. You have to drink earlier, move fluid sooner, and soothe the bladder in the evening with calm signals instead of stimulants. I call it a dry window, a predictable stretch before bed where your body has nothing extra to process. Pair that with a small, mineral-rich snack prepared the right way, and many people notice quieter nights without harsh rules. Start with hydration on purpose. Aim to enjoy the majority of your fluids while the sun is still high. Water with breakfast, a glass mid-morning, another at lunch, and a steady rhythm through mid-afternoon. Then taper. 2 to 3 hours before bed, shift to small sips only as needed, especially if you've been active or the weather is hot. The goal is comfort, not deprivation. If you take medications that require water in the evening, follow your prescribed routine and coordinate any adjustments with your clinician so nothing important is missed. Next, move the fluid that tends to collect in the legs. A short, consistent practice works wonders. Late afternoon or early evening, elevate your legs for 20 to 30 minutes while you read, plan tomorrow, or talk with a loved one. Add ankle pumps and gentle calf raises. After dinner, take a 5 to 15-minute walk around the block or inside your home. These aren't workouts. They're invitations for fluid to return before you lie down, so the kidneys finish more of their work while you're awake. Now for the preparation you've been waiting for. A simple, natural snack that supports bladder comfort for many and fits a North American pantry. Use unsalted pumpkin seeds, often labeled pepitas, and plain, unsweetened yogurt or kefir. The seeds provide minerals and healthy fats. The dairy adds protein and a cooling texture. The key is timing and portion. Measure 2 tablespoons of unsalted pumpkin seeds. If they're raw, lightly toast them in a dry skillet over low heat for 3 to 5 minutes, just until they become fragrant and slightly golden, stirring so they don't burn. Let them cool. Combine the seeds with a half cup of plain Greek yogurt or kefir. If you like a hint of warmth, add a pinch of cinnamon. Enjoy this between mid-afternoon and late afternoon, roughly 3 to 5 hours before bedtime. Serve it earlier rather than later if your evenings have been busy. The portion is intentional. More isn't better at night. The point is a steady signal of satiety and minerals without a flood of fluid or sugar. A few safety notes keep the practice responsible. Skip this recipe if you have a seed allergy. If you live with kidney disease or follow a specialized diet, discuss the portion with your healthcare professional to make sure it fits. If dairy doesn't agree with you, use a small portion of a dairy-free yogurt with minimal additives and watch how you feel. Always check labels for added sodium or sweeteners that might not suit you. Round out the evening with a gentle dinner. Roasted vegetables, a modest portion of protein, herbs for flavor, and sauces that aren't overly salty or acidic late at night. Replace evening refills of iced tea or soda with water earlier in the day, and keep nighttime sips small. Dim the house lights, let screens go dark, and give yourself a few minutes of quiet. The message to your system is consistent. The day is closing, and the bladder can rest. You also get the promised bonus: 2 techniques that often amplify results safely. First, use the double void before bed. Empty your bladder, wash your hands, brush your teeth, and then sit back down and try again after 30 to 60 seconds. The goal is not straining. It's simply giving the bladder a second chance to empty comfortably. Second, practice 2 or 3 rounds of slow breathing once you're in bed. Inhale through the nose for a count of 4, hold gently for 7, exhale through the mouth for 8. This calms the nervous system and, for many, reduces the sensation of urgency that can spike when the mind is busy. There's one more truth to share with care. Getting up repeatedly at night isn't just tiring. In darker rooms and unfamiliar hallways, it can raise fall risk, especially if you're groggy or your balance isn't what it used to be. Simple environmental tweaks protect you. A low, warm nightlight, a clear path to the bathroom without throw rugs, and sturdy slippers that won't slip. None of this is meant to frighten you. It's about making your home as friendly to your nighttime routine as your daytime habits now are. What happens when you put these pieces together is quiet, not dramatic. Evenings become calmer. The bladder feels less bossy. Mornings arrive with steadier energy. You'll still have nights that don't go as planned. The goal is a new default that favors rest. Keep notes for 2 weeks. Fluids earlier, leg elevation, gentle dinner, the seed and yogurt preparation at the right time, and the bonus practices. Then read your own results like a story you authored. If something changes sharply, pain, burning, fever, blood in urine, swelling that doesn't settle, new shortness of breath, pause the experiments and seek medical care. Those are not DIY puzzles, and getting help early is part of smart self-care at any age. For most people, though, this combination of rhythm, preparation, and environment is both safe and effective. You've built this step by step, with patience and curiosity. Take a moment to appreciate the effort. Then keep practicing the small things that add up to better nights. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it won't just limit your results, it can also bring unintended side effects if portions and preparation aren't handled carefully. Keep the mindset you've used here: steady, informed, and kind to your future self.